Good afternoon. Welcome to Trail Talk. I am so glad you guys could join us today, especially after our weird little ending yesterday with our glitch. We love the internet around. Love it so much. It's always so cooperative. Anyway, welcome to Trail Talk. Thank you for tuning in. We're coming to you live from the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, Oklahoma. And we have a returning guest and friend of the Heritage Center, Teri Knox, with us today. Welcome, Teri.
Thank you.
Teri, you are the executive director of the Duncan Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yes.
I got it right.
Yes.
I practiced right before we went on the air. Anyway, so Teri, you were on, was this a couple of years ago, or was it a year and a half ago? I can't remember. I think it might have been even 2 years ago.
I think it might have been 2.
Yeah. But man, a lot of things have been going on, and it just seems like especially a lot of the partnership you have with Travel Oklahoma and things like that.
So
I mean, yes. Oh, we have here at the Heritage Center, we've had a lot of fun meeting some of the people that Teri has been able to connect with. And because fortunately we're one of the stops that she likes to bring people to. And it's just been a lot of fun, and just I think it's great for you guys to hear about all of the ways Duncan is being discovered by a lot of visitors, and the way Teri, you work hand in hand with a lot of organizations that bring all of that about.
A lot of partners.
Yes. So let's first of all tell us, as just so folks know, what is your role and what is the Convention and Visitor Bureau? What is your
Mission. Our focus. Okay. Well, the Duncan Convention and Visitors Bureau, we market Duncan as Visit Duncan. So a lot of our promotional material, our Facebook page, our website, you'll see Visit Duncan, and that's the Duncan Convention and Visitors Bureau. Our mission is to promote all of Duncan. We promote the attractions like this place, lakes, golf courses, all of the events that are happening in Duncan, which we put on our DuncanCalendar.com. And with the goal of getting tourists to come in, spend their money in our restaurants, gas, stores, with the ultimate goal of staying in our hotels and motels. Lodging tax is what funds the Duncan Convention and Visitors Bureau. So of course we want those visitors to come in and overnight.
Right. So to try to, it's like a perpetuate the
right. It's to bring the outside dollars in to
Right.
our circle of economy here in Duncan.
Right. And I mean, it's super great motivation for you guys because that's where your funding is coming from. But think of all the other businesses that are touched by the sales, all the hospitality, restaurants, shopping, all of those things would benefit our community by having people come in from other places.
Which could also lead even into economic development. If you have a visitor that comes in, really loves the city and decides, well, I want to invest here. Or even just a person that wants to move here.
Right.
So it's kind of the gateway that opens it up to give Duncan the exposure on so many different levels.
You mentioned that. Do you work with Dative?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Lyle at Dative and the Chamber of Commerce and the city, of course, are our partners. We kind of all have the same goal of enhancing Duncan, whether, Dative is doing manufacturing or whatever they're bringing in, trying to get those economic dollars, and then we're pushing, trying to bring the tourism and quality of life at your chamber, and the city's kind of reinforcing all of it. So,
Right.
I'd say we all are working together.
A great team. That's a really great team together. When you said that a business coming here, that made me think of what's the newest one with the passenger vehicles? Mobile One. Mobile One is making this one of like a headquarters. Duncan is going to become their headquarters. And it's because of so many of these things that you mentioned, you know, in addition to partnering with like our VOTEC and other things. but
Relationships.
That all of
and
those,
networking
yes, all of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and how great that all of those things are in place, just waiting for a business like that to pop in and you just throw it all out. It's like, here it is, you know, and it does what it's supposed to do. You know, that's awesome. So tell us about some of the things that have been going on with you, with what you're doing specifically, the visitors part. And
Since the last time I was here, I would definitely mention our international marketing. We have been enhancing that with getting more involved with the state tourism department on an international level. It's a lot of people would be very surprised to learn that the international market is very intrigued with the state of Oklahoma. It's the cowboy and the native history here. Of course, most, like I printed off some stats just so that I have them for you because it's very important for people to know, like 60% of UK travelers come into America for vacationing. Of course, Oklahoma is probably going to be the third or their fourth trip. Most of the first and seconds are Disney World, Chicago, Vegas, etc., the big ones. But by that third trip or that fourth trip, they're wanting the rural state, Oklahoma, and they want to learn about the American history of that Oklahoma has so much of, with the cowboy and the native. So I feel like in the last 2 years, as we kind of tapped into that, we had more of a response for Duncan than I anticipated. I feel like we get more feedback from international tourists than we do domestic, because they are intrigued with the history and the heritage that we have. It's what they think of America. Is the cowboys and native histories.
I always tell people, or I always say, when someone comes to the United States and gets a souvenir, buys something to take home with them, the majority of the time is a pair of cowboy boots or a cowboy hat.
Yes.
That cowboy icon represents the United States to other countries. I mean, it's just, that's what they associate with us. And so I really, I love working here and just being a part of that little cowboy, part, because it's very interesting.
And you guys get international.
We do. There was a visitor from Germany here today, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I noticed that you guys are seeing at least 2 to 3 different countries a month that's coming in, so, which is great.
Yes. So, and I also think it's interesting, I don't know how many people here in the US realize, but when people in like European countries, I know for sure, or, well, they go on holiday, and it's not a 3-day vacation or even a 7-day vacation. It's like 2 weeks or a month, 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I
2
mean,
to 3 weeks.
yeah, it's a long time. And so it seems like, why wouldn't you go someplace? And plus, the United States is so gigantic compared to Europe.
Right.
Right. That you would be able to really fill that 3 weeks with a lot of cool things. So,
And post-COVID, the Midwest has seen an influx just because of that. UK coming into America wanting to not hit the big cities and the crowded parks or et cetera. And so they're, we've seen a little more traffic because since then as well.
right.
So, yeah.
Right.
And Duncan partners with the state in helping promote the state as a whole with the idea of Duncan being on those itineraries. So as like the fam tour that's coming next month, we have a gentleman and his wife that'll be here the first part of May from the UK. And they're doing a fam tour, which is kind of a site visit. And the states kind of coordinate all of that and taking them around different parts and different communities. And Duncan is on that stop here at the Heritage Center. And they'll come in and do a site so that they can return in October with their large group that will come in and stop in Duncan and visit.
Right. And not that long ago, there was a group of reporters or people who were writers, journalists, a group of journalists who came here. That was really fun. I got to talk to some of them. They had a lot of really fun questions. you know, about the things here at the Heritage
That's
Center.
beneficial for us when a journalist comes into town, because they're gonna go back and write this article and
Mhm.
publish it in the UK, for example.
Mhm.
And that's just marketing. I mean,
Right,
people are reading it, they're like, oh, that looks like fun.
Mhm.
On our next trip, let's add it.
right.
So,
When you were first doing this job, were you thinking things like that?
no. I wasn't, so I don't blame people when they're like, why international, there's no tourists coming into Duncan. Wrong, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
Another thing is it American Airlines who had the nonstop from New Zealand to Dallas or something?
So American Airlines, you can get like, I don't know about New Zealand, but in Dublin and Ireland, you can get pre-clearance there.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to, once you hit America, you don't have to go through customs. You get to do that
okay.
before.
Well, there was a group of people from, I thought they were from New Zealand who
Oh,
came
maybe,
here, and there was
that's
like
right.
they put in for this, like the initial flight, the maiden voyage or whatever of this plane that was going to fly all the
Oh, yes.
way.
That was an American Airlines, like a contest.
Yes.
That was the group of 5, and they were,
Uh-huh.
I think it was New Zealand and Germany.
I can't remember.
There was like,
I can't.
yeah, it was like 4 different countries and an
That's
American
awesome.
Airlines
Mhm.
representative that came in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and they came here. They came to the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, and that was because of the connections that you had
Our
with,
partnerships with the state.
yes, which is so amazing. So when did this international vision kind of become a part of your job?
About 4 years ago. 4 years ago, the state tourism department reached out to us because they had a spot open on one of their conferences that they go to. It's an international, like a sales conference that you go to and have appointments with tour operators and travel agents. And I attended that and started learning the process and how that works, because international sales is so much different than domestic group. A lot of international is FIT, which is family individual travels. And your domestic group shows that I'm promoting at, they're actual tour buses.
Right.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So I was learning that whole marketing side of it about 4 years ago, attending this conference. This will be my fifth year to attend this conference this year. And as we were starting to promote and get more involved with it, I was seeing the interest there. Like, oh, maybe this, we need to follow through with this. And that's how we did.
I think it's so cool and
Yeah,
very
yeah.
exciting. I really feel like Oklahoma is kind of emerging as a state with a lot of this because, we've always been the flyover state.
Mhm.
It's always a joke. And I've even laughed here, the Chisholm Trail, it went right through Indian Territory, but we weren't the destination. It was just a walk through. The Chisholm Trail had, it just they had to go from Texas to Kansas, and so they had to go through Indian Territory to get there. And it had, we were a flyover state back then too. It's like
A walkthrough.
a walkthrough. We were a walkthrough state, and so I love it that, there are movies being made here,
Yellowstone movie, I think probably really helped too, because like watching that, like cowboys, oh yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's cool.
Right, and then the new Twister,
Yes,
movie that,
yes.
coming out, and all those things, and all of that part, and then I don't know, Oklahoma tourism just really getting feeling that desire to push Oklahoma on this grander scale, and then
They've actually
being able to
been,
do that.
the state tourism department, and don't quote me on the exact many years, but it's been probably close to 20 that they've been pushing that international marketing, and it's really, they just do a great job. And it's
Well,
like getting Duncan connected to that and involved in that, and getting our name out and exposure has been what's really, opened it up for us.
I don't know if I've told you this story. I feel like I might have, but this happened at least 30 years ago. One of my good friends worked for the tourism department, And there was a group of people, Asian tourists, and they were going to Kellyville to, there's like a giant ranch and you can stay in kind of bunkhouse places, and they have like hunting and things like this now. And like I said, this is at least 30 years ago. And she said, hey, you want to ride with me? So I was like, sure. And we ride all the way to Kellyville, which is way out in the eastern part of the state. And anyway, and so that was, I thought, people are coming from Asia, you know, like.
They still are looking for places like that. They're very intrigued with that kind of thing, like for sure, domestic and international.
It was a crazy day hanging out with all these people. We could not understand what we were saying to each other, but we were having a good time together.
The vibe was good.
The vibe was good, yeah. But you know, as far as being here in Duncan and being a part of any of that, it seems new and it seems fresh and it's exciting.
Yeah,
very exciting. So tell us some of the other things besides.
Well, also we've been promoting and pushing, that time of the year, our lakes and our parks, because off-state parks are doing so well across the state. So we are tag teaming with that and trying to promote our lakes and outdoor and activities and fishing and things like that. So it's kind of what we're working on. We also just released new digital ads, and we're targeting some different areas this year that we're seeing double the ROI on people click through and go into our website. So that's been exciting. That's some new news that we've gotten just in the last few days. Some reports that's coming back on the different areas we're targeting, and that's doing so much better than it was the previous. And
yay!
So yeah, we're trying a couple of new things this year as for digital marketing and just some different marketing opportunities to see where we get.
So how do you stay on top of all of those things? Like what, you're trying something new this year, digital marketing. I feel like all of those, all of that changes a lot. And what social media people are more engaged with, and how do you know how to target your groups and things like that? Or is there just like continuing education kind of things?
I think it comes with a lot too, is making sure that you have the experienced company that you're using. So like we use a different company this time, this year, a digital company. It's working with them back and forth, and what areas, what kind of feedback they're seeing on their end. It's a lot of data reading. We do move that, fencing that different areas to see what is, if they're clicking through to our website, we compare it to the traffic into Duncan. Just a lot of different data and reading and trying to discover what works and what doesn't, because it's really hard to measure tourism. Right? Like I always joke and say the only way you know if something's working is if we put roadblocks all the way around the town and stop every car. How'd you hear about us? Did you see our website? Is that why you're here? You just don't. It's hard. It's hard. So you're watching, the traffic in town, how many, occupancy rate for hotels, the event attendance that's happening, how well sales tax is doing, all those things, and play into it because you don't know if that's where that's coming from or why. So the different marketing things, I feel like we kind of introduce one or two new things a year just to get some feedback and see if that's a direction that's doing better than something else that we're doing that may not be giving us the stats that we want, or no stats at all.
Right.
It's really hard to measure that.
I mean, you want to say, oh, well, that's probably visitors.
Yeah, their number. Yes,
that's
right.
us.
You want to, but you just don't know.
You can't. You can't.
It's
for sure say that. Do you have some regular, like annual kind of event things that always?
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about some of those things.
Of course, our fairgrounds is awesome with bringing in all the events that they have. I feel like they have something every weekend. I
Mhm.
feel they do. So,
Yes, yeah.
and they have several events down there that are large enough that they do sell their hotels and motels out.
Mhm.
And then we had something that happened just in February. It just fell right where Duncan was the host for the regionals wrestling. The Marlowe High School, Marlowe was as well, and we filled up, all the hotels and motels were filled up, and then Duncan and overflowing into our surrounding communities.
Wow.
And that was just an extra, because we really hadn't anticipated that happening, you know, a year before.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Because that's all based on the teams, right?
Right,
And their records and all
exactly,
that.
so it's not something you can plan or budget.
Bonus.
Yeah, it was a bonus. As soon as I had found out, I was like, Duncan's hosting Marlowe's. I was texting my general manager, so what's it look like this weekend?
Right.
We're full. Yes.
That's great. So you have a very close working relationship then with the people that are managing the hotels
Right, your
locally.
GMs, your
Uh-huh.
managers. Yeah, but Katie and I both are always constantly touching base with them at least once a month with, you know, numbers or for big events coming in.
Mhm.
They're great with working with us and accommodating room blocks.
Mhm.
Because you have event organizers that call and say, we need, you know, 50 rooms blocked off for these dates. They send it out, see who can do it. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it even like next week is the Lieutenant Governor's turkey hunt.
Yeah,
Does-
Dave does that.
Yes, so is that one of those events that, does it,
Yes, Nicole, she
Uh-huh.
does a great job with working direct. She works directly with our hotels and
Mhm.
getting those rooms set up because it does bring in hotel rooms.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. That's just, I mean, I think, I hope a lot of people are hearing all of this, you know, or have watched this because, I think it's just, when you live somewhere, it's easy to overlook
Right.
those things. I don't drive past the parking lot of the hotels and see how many cars are in
Right.
there, you know, that's just not something I think about.
Mhm.
But after I talk to you, you know, that's probably something that will catch my eye a
Sure.
little bit, you know, and I'll be thinking.
Because it's
okay,
vital, it's important for us to have visitors coming in and spending money and I was guilty of that too. Before I started doing tourism, I
Mhm.
didn't know, I didn't pay attention and I was doing marketing in a different industry and
Right.
started doing tourism. This is awesome. Like,
Mhm.
this is a whole other world.
Right. So are there some, things that you've seen, like, are there some, I'm thinking of like the Stevens County Historical Museum, you know, the Keith Cawley is the new executive director there, and he's doing just having a lot of things going on over there.
Mhm.
When things like that change or something is enhanced like that, do you see kind of an uptick of outside visitors, or does that seem to just,
Well, we can gauge that off of their visitors that they're turning in, like the number, you know, that like, we have, you know, 200 this month opposed to 70. Yes, we definitely watch that. And I'm like, okay, so they doubled their numbers this month. Oh, but that exhibit, the baseball exhibit opened up. Or
right?
they had an event out there. They've done a great job trying to get events and exhibits going to bring people in. So yeah, we kind of definitely pay attention to that stuff.
Right. So do you, like, like we just had an event last weekend and we, you know, really tried promoting a lot of different, using a lot of different ways of
Mhm.
promoting an event like that. What kinds of, do you think that social media is the top way to reach people to,
For events?
for events, or what do you think?
I
people
would
have the
say,
most
yeah,
success?
I think that definitely social media for events. I know Visit Duncan, we use social media. We also send out press releases for
Mhm.
our larger events that are multi-day. We'll send those out to different medias in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Dallas area. And then also just Duncan calendar.
Yeah, yes, the calendar.
And for a local, we don't do a whole lot of local printing because most of our dollars, we're trying to get the person that's 75 miles out, bringing them in. So we'll, partner with, definitely one of the things that we do is partner with our state and regional partners with sending them a list once a month of all of the events that we have happening in Duncan, and we're pulling those off of our Duncan calendar. So definitely, I'm always encouraging everyone, if you have an event, put it on there. That is free marketing. Like, we will take this and share it with our regional and state partners. They then put it on their websites.
Yes.
So then you're reaching their audience that's going to their websites or their Facebook or their digital ads. And the same with us. So we're putting it over in our websites.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Mhm.
What tell us of some of the, events, like what you were just talking about. What kind of are some of the things that the Visitors Bureau, like you guys host events? Is that what you
We don't
mean?
host the events,
Okay.
but we definitely will, like a larger event that's coming in, that's gonna put lots of heads and beds into our hotels. So it's usually a multi-day, as well as bringing in just a large attendance that's gonna bring in sales tax and spending their money here. We definitely will assist in promoting that, as well as we do have like a scholarship that events that are multi-day can apply for up to 3 years. They can apply, and it's based off of, they have to, turn in some reporting of the event, their budget, and showing that they're bringing in 300 people or whatever the number is. And that goes to an actual advisory council that reviews those, and we do some sponsorship dollars to try to assist new events coming in to generate traffic.
Right.
But we don't actually put on our own.
Your
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
you're just like the.
Trying to help promote it and
Agent,
help,
Yeah.
system, hospitality. Maybe that's what you were thinking of. We have a large event like our National Swine Registry, the Fall Classic, the big show that
Yes.
happens in October, that's been here for over 30 years. We do some hospitality services for that, such as we put welcome bags together. We hand out a bag to every person that comes through the gate. We set up coffee and donuts. We'll do a VIP dinner for the actual event organizers and things like that. So we definitely have the hospitality side that we do too.
And as far as conventions go, is that, are those conventions that are anywhere in the community?
Yes.
Okay.
So we also have kind of another little branch of, we are a part of an association that's called the Oklahoma Society of Association Executives. We are a member of that as a strategic partner. And what that is we are a member, so we're in front of those execs that plan events for different industries. So like you have an exec there from the medical industry, from the eye industry, from the dental industry, and they're scouting a part of this membership as well. And one of the things they're looking for is a venue to hold board retreats, conferences, and things like that. So we're definitely involved in that to help get conventions here that would go to the Summit Center or to the conference center at the fairgrounds. They're mostly larger ones that are going to be here multi-nights. So we definitely are on that side of things as well, and trying to bring those hotel rooms in those nights.
It seems like the things you do and the things that the Visitors Bureau does, those are things that are just behind the scenes.
Sure.
You guys are
Yes.
back there just making sure that these things are running smoothly. And I guess you're just coordinating
And I think a lot of that is because the Visitors Bureau, our target audience doesn't live here. They're outside because they're tourists, and we're trying to bring them in, which is bringing more money into our community. So all of our efforts are something to do with, marketing at organizations or digital or print. That's what we call like a 75-mile radius and out. So that's why I think a lot of times locals don't realize that there is even a Visit Duncan in what we do.
Right,
So.
right. Well, but it's so vital to the success of the community because, sometimes even when you live here, it's easy to, drive right down Main Street and not really stop and spend any time in those little
You get in the
shops.
zone and
You
you're like
do.
your routine. Sure.
And so for the visitors to come in and to spend time in spending their money on things besides, you taking your grocery list to the store to get the things you have to have. They're here for fun.
Sure.
And, my husband and I have like stayed in the bed and breakfast here in town before and done fun things like that,
Well, that's good. We
Yeah.
always encourage like just visiting with friends or other locals and like check out our website. You'll be surprised. Like if you go to visit Dunkin.org and you look at all the things that there is to do here or places, you might find a place to eat that you didn't even know was here or a place definitely to shop or, there's just so many things that we're constantly updating that. Like that to me is almost a full-time job. It's just staying up with all the events, new businesses or changes or location changes, and just trying to keep our Visit Duncan website up to date as much as possible. Katie next door, she does a great job of just constantly, and any little information we hear, we're like, better go add that, stay on top of this. And then our regional partners like the Chickasaw, the Great Plains Country, both of those regional partners do the same. They're reaching out to us. Hey, I saw on your website you have this event. Tell me more about it. Because then they're transferring it over to their website. Then the state's doing the same. So it gets spread out. It's like a different arms, different legs of it, but it's all kind of a domino effect. If we've got it listed, they're probably listing it, and then so forth and so forth.
Right. So did you bring some other information to share with us?
Not really. I think I showed you guys the guide, of course. We have our Visit Duncan guide, and we distribute 30,000 of these guides a year. These
We
are
have
actually,
them
you
here.
guys have them. Our attractions put them out for us, as well as they are in the racks at like hotels that are outside of Duncan.
Yes.
So when people are visiting Oklahoma City or Lawton or Tulsa, they're in a hotel, they will maybe see our Duncan, and it's at the WinStar, the Chickasaw puts these out for us as well. So, and then we just recently created this. It's like our little fishing guide that has all of our lakes and the different information about our lakes. We generated this so that we could take this to the fishing expos and promoting. So we're trying to drive a little bit of that into Duncan. And then you were mentioning about how tourism is so vital for Duncan, and it's so behind the scenes from like a local perspective. A lot of people don't realize either that tourism is the third largest economic driver for the state of Oklahoma, like generating money in for the budget.
Wow.
So
That's impressive. My goodness. Which is all the more reason to attend events. And even as a local person attending events in your community, that's going to encourage people to continue to have them.
yeah,
And
because they need those events to happen, so we'll bring people to it.
Right.
Spend some time here.
Yeah, for sure. And they're really, there are a lot of things to do. I've seen on social media just recently, people, it might have just been a day or two ago, someone said, "You've asked about things to do in Duncan. Well, let me tell you." And she like listed out probably 20 things that you could do in Duncan for like this week and then this weekend coming up. And I was like, you go, that is awesome. That is just the kind of thing you need to be aware of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I think your best advocates are your locals. They tell the story, and if somebody sees, they're talking really great about Duncan, they got all this stuff, and it's a local person, I think that sells it.
Yeah, for sure. It absolutely. Well, Teri, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I mean, it's
fun. I love
do
it.
you love
So,
it?
Yes.
Do you love it?
Absolutely.
So do you get to travel
I do.
with your job a
Yes,
lot?
I do travel. It's kind of a hit or miss. It has its seasons. And where I may not be traveling as much these couple of months, but this spring right now, starting in March. It kind of starts a little bit in February, but March through June it's pretty heavily. At least one trip a month, sometimes two.
Wow.
April and May is two each. So.
One thing I was thinking about a minute ago, we, can't can't remember where we had been. We were driving into Oklahoma and we stopped at one of the, welcome centers,
Yes.
which are pretty fancy and nice these
Mhm.
days. We were really impressed. You should stop at a welcome center in Oklahoma. They are nice. But they had, a rack, and it wasn't just like a brochure like that. There were some books. The agriculture,
Mhm.
Department of Agriculture
Yes.
had made these beautiful little booklet kind of things, and one was like agribusiness, and I found like crossed arrows and at this Chisholm Trail Heritage Center, there was a museum thing, there was all of these great publications, and there were so many things from here in Duncan and the surrounding area
Mhm.
that I was like, this is so awesome
Yeah.
to just realize that we're being promoted statewide.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it just really made me really proud of our community,
Right. Yeah,
and
sure.
just really happy that, someone besides those of us who, work here at the Heritage Center know what a cool place this is, that someone else is making this worth a great page in a, really nice little publication thing.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
anyway, it's fun, and I know that those are the kinds of things that you are helping to bring about. You're showing them all of the best and brightest things that are happening here in Duncan. And so thank you for that, for those partnerships that you've made, and just for the continuing ways that you're building all of this tourism for Duncan. I just think it's awesome.
Thank you.
You're-
Thank you
you're-
for having me.
oh,
today.
absolutely.
Come and tell the story.
Yes, always, Terry. Well, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you learned some really great things about the Duncan Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm saying it like a pro now, right? And Teri Knox, and if you see Terry around, be sure and tell her thanks, and she's doing a good job, because she really is. So we will see you guys next week, and until then, we're gonna say happy trails.
Okay.
Until then, guys, happy
Happy
trails.